Hey, you're watching CAD Roll Hunter. I have my trusty magnet, my scale, my scope. It must be time to hunt some pennies. Stay tuned. Hey everybody, this is James and you're watching my channel CAD Roll Hunter. And I have 20 rolls of pennies here we're gonna hunt. Of course, I've got my Lighthouse Vista album here and we are trying to fill spots in this. And I lost my little piece of paper, my sticky note telling me how many spots we've got filled and how many need to be filled. So we're gonna have to do that count later, but we've made some progress on this album, but lots of spots, as you can see, left to fill. And there are a few things that aren't gonna be necessarily hard for us to find. I just haven't found one that was gleaming to put in the spot. But let's get into these rolls. I recently picked these up from the bank. At the same time, I picked up a whole bunch of Canadian half dollars and silver dollars, quote unquote, silver dollars, nickel dollars. But what we've got here are pennies. Some of them are wrapped. You can see in dime and nickel wrappers and even loonie wrappers. So because pennies don't circulate, it's really hard to get penny wrappers from stores. Now, if you go to the bank, you can probably still ask for them because there are billions of pennies that are still out there that haven't been returned. But we're hoping that in these wrappers, no matter what they say on the outside, there's going to be some goodies. So we're going to start getting right into these. Some of these are homemade wrappers that somebody has just said 1 cent, 50 cents. We're just going to start tearing into these and hopefully we'll find some oldies and some goodies. This happens to be a quarter wrapper. So that is a pretty interesting way to wrap up coins. They literally tore apart the coin wrapper and used it, just put it inside out to wrap these pennies in, and that's probably what they've done with a lot of these. I mean, they could have made their own homemade paper wrapper. This, I thought initially was homemade paper, but I guess it works. So let's see what's in there. At first glance, it looks like we're going to have a lot of copper edges, a lot of dark coins. That looks like copper. Some shiny ones towards the end, but any with those 12-sided edges are going to be copper pennies. 1996 or earlier. They went round again in 1997 when they switched to zinc or steel, which they used in a lot of different years. But we're going to just have to see. We'll take a look at this first one here, and that is from 1977. So we're going to take all of these copper pennies from 1996 and earlier. We're going to put them in the copper cup. We're going to separate them out from the zinc and steel cents because, of course, copper is worth significantly more than face value. And it looks like we're going to have some fairly nice ones. That's a red-brown one, and then this one here looks to be a gleaming 1979. That's good. It's got a few spots on it. We'll see how the obverse looks. Definitely some spots, but it looks like a largely uncirculated coin. Hopefully that bodes well. We're going to do well, I think, on the copper, but can we find anything really old? That's what remains to be seen. So I've set that one aside and we've got precisely 7 coins in, and we are going to have something old. We're going to have a King George VI. That is awesome. We're going to have to flip it to see what year it is. That is a 1950. That is awesome. Of course, we got lots of spots in the 20s, 30s, 40s, and even some of the 50s we want to fill up in this album. Getting towards the end of this roll, and we got another gleaming cent here, and this one is from 1978. Beautiful. And everything in that first roll was copper except for one little 1998 when they switched composition. Interesting. Second coin of the second roll, and we're going to get an old American cent. This is the oldest one of the hunt so far. A 1944 Philadelphia Lincoln wheat cent. Very next coin, I've got a 1979, and I scope all of these for the ones that have doubling on the date. And here's one that's pretty dramatic. You can see this one is the 779 with lots of doubling. It's dye deterioration doubling on this 79. What we'd want to find is one that's in really nice condition. If we could find one that's still really red, you can find them with this doubling. And in some cases, it's all of the digits in the date, pretty extreme versions. So there's some collectability, some interest here, but they're very common. So in a low grade, if it's not significant, it's not really worth holding on to. And just a little further back, here's our first laureate portrait. This is a 1963. We'll flip it over and we'll see a young Queen Elizabeth here. Very nice. I want to just take a minute to thank you so much for watching the video. If you enjoy my channel and the videos that I make, I'm introducing channel memberships. There are 3 levels of memberships that you can purchase to support the work that I do and help me keep making these videos for you. The first one is Cateroll Hunter Member. It's only $1.99 a month. And with that, you'll get priority answers to your comments and custom emojis. The next level is Cateroll Hunter VIP. For just $4.99 a month, what you get there is early access to all of my videos, so you can see them before anybody else, and shout outs to members on videos and recognition. The last membership is the Cateroll Hunter All Access Pass membership. It's $14.99 a month. You get all of the other perks, plus I will mail you a welcome package. So I need your address, of course. I'm going to send you a package with some goodies. And secondly, members only videos that only members can see. Probably things like a glimpse into my collection to see some of the coins that I have that I don't necessarily show on my channel, and the ability for you to give me feedback on what you'd like to see in those members only videos. Again, if you appreciate the videos that I make and you enjoy my videos, that is an option for you as the memberships. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And don't feel like you need to purchase a membership. You can continue to watch all of the content. I've just released my 225th long form video, so there's lots of videos for you to go back and see, but I hope to be able to continue making videos for you, and your support is appreciated. Let's get back to the video. We're going to get our oldest Canadian here. This one's a 1946. Once again, we're going to see King George VI. That's our second one of the hunt. And just a little bit behind that, a 1964, our second laureate portrait. Still in roll number 2, we're going to get our third laureate portrait. This time, it is another 1964. Roll number 3, and we're going to find our oldest one now so far. This is a 1942. We're starting to get back there in the years. This one, of course, is going to be another King George VI. Same roll, and we found a few nice ones so far. This one here is another 1979. It's got some marks on it, probably from fingerprints, but it's got lots of luster. Well, this bunch of rolls is looking pretty good. Here's a 1944. So we found 3 King George VI in the 40s and 1 in the 50s so far. I don't think we need this 44, but if this holds up, we might be able to fill a bunch of spots in the album. Here's our first 1985, and we need a pointed 5 for the album. What we're looking at is the end here. This is the blunt 5. It's got a straight end. We want a pointed 5. They're really hard to come by, but you can find them. I found 2 coin roll hunting in the last few years, so keep your eyes peeled for that one. There are 4 varieties of 1965 that we can find. They're combinations of either small beads, large beads, and with a pointed 5 or a blunt 5. We've only got 1 in the album so far. It's the small beads blunt 5. I've got a 1965 here. It's still got a bit of luster on it. It is the blunt 5. Now that's not straight like the 85, but the pointed 5 is more acute. But when I flip it over, we are looking at the A in Regina, and the large beads, that A is pointing directly to a large bead. So we have a variety we don't have on the album. This is the 1965 large beads blunt 5, and we're going to put it in our album. A couple coins later, there is our first 1961 laureate portrait, and there she is. Here's another 1965 I just pulled out. It's also the blunt 5. Those are the ones that are pretty common that I find. This happens to be the small bead. You can see they're pretty small, and the A is pointing between 2 beads. Same roll. There is our second 1963. And what do we have here? We got to flip it over to find out. Another 1963. These are pretty common, but we'll take them. This one's looking pretty grungy and pretty damaged. It's going to be... oh, I can barely make it out, a 1964. Roll number 5, and there's our fourth 1964. And at the end of the roll, we're going to get another George. It's from the later years. It doesn't have the inscription that names him as the Emperor of India. This one's another 1950. Roll number 6, another laureate portrait. We haven't found one of these in the 50s yet, and we're going to have to wait a little while longer at least. This is a 1963 again. And just a few coins back, we got another shot here. Let's see. No, it's a 1964. Same roll, and there is a dazzling 1980. And I roll all of these ones up. If I find a coin, a copper cent that looks really, really nice like this, I hold onto these ones. We're at the halfway point, roll number 10, and we're going to get our first 1962 of the hunt. These last few rolls have been different. The composition has been different. There have been a lot more newer scents. They're not these homemade rigged wrappers, so I think they're from a different customer, a different lot. But there are a few more of those improvised wrappers in this next bundle that I think we might see some older and interesting things in. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Roll number 12, there's another 1964. Same roll, we're going to get our second US wheat scent. It's looking pretty worn. We're going to flip it over and see what year this is. It's just a 1956 Denver. Roll number 13, and I almost missed this one. It just looked so nice. I thought it was one of these 70s or 80s ones. It's a 1955. That's our oldest laureate portrait, but it's got lots of detail. It's brown for sure, but still has a little bit of shine and luster to it. Interesting. Getting towards the end of this roll, and I can just spy George's name here. So we're going to get another King George VI. This one. Our third 1950 of the hunt. Roll 16 is going to give us our third US wheat scent. It looks to be a 1952 Denver. I'll just throw that under the scope real quick. We'll take a closer look at that. And it is, in fact, a circulated 1952 Denver. Roll 17 is going to give us another oldie. It's another George VI. This one is from 1943. That is awesome to see. Still lots of detail in that one too. Pretty good. Same roll, and we're going to get a couple oldies back to back here. Two more King George V. There's a 1951, and right behind it you can see there's one from the 40s. Got to back up to focus. It's a 1941, so 51. That's nice. And then this one here with some bright and shiny ones right behind it. Very cool. Roll 18, and check out this beautiful 1964. This might be an upgrader for our album. It's got lots of luster. Let's see what the obverse looks like. It is a beauty, and I think that is a winner right there. Awesome. So we're now in the very last roll, roll number 20, and we're going to at least have one more find. Here is a laureate portrait, and this one is another 1963, and we found a bunch of these ones. They're quite common. Well, we weren't quite done yet. There's another George VI. What's this one going to be? Another 1951, and behind it just a gleaming 2011. So those 20 rolls have been hunted, and we got a fair amount of copper. Some of those rolls, those homemade rolls, were almost exclusively copper. It was some of these other ones with traditional wrappers here that had a mix of newer and older stuff. And we did find a bunch of good stuff here. We got a short stack of US copper, and we got just like 3 or 4 US zinc pennies, which is pretty unusual. We'd usually get a lot more than that. We also found 17 laureate portraits in the 60s, only 161 and 162, no 1960s, but a whole bunch of 63s and 64s, including this one that I think is going to be an album upgrader. We got 6 from the 50s, 5 of which were King George VI, and we got 1 laureate portrait in the 50s, that's a 1955. And we got 5 from the 40s. You can see here we got that 41, the 42, 43, a nice little run there, 44, and then a 46. And we even got a few US wheat scents, a 1944, a 52 Denver, and a 1956 Denver. And over here, we got a few other things. We got a few of those 1979s with that dye deterioration double date, which is really cool. And some coins here that have some kind of luster, some of which I might roll up and keep with my BU scents, but we'll just check to make sure that we're only keeping the nicest of them. And a few that I think are going to upgrade, like this 1965. I think that's a slot that actually needs to be filled. There might be a few others that are going to upgrade in that album. So I'm going to take a peek here in our beautiful Lighthouse at Vista Nature album and see if we've got any spots to fill or any upgraders. Okay, I checked against the album and we made some progress. We were sitting at 75 of 131 coins, and you can see here my tally. We added the 42, a 50, the 65 large bead blunt 5, and a 1988. We upgraded the 1955, that's the shoulder fold small identical. And this beautiful 1964 right here, that was the nicest looking edition of everything. And there's that 1965 large beads blunt 5, a little bit of discoloration, but it still has some of that mint luster, which is good. So we're up to 79 of 131 pennies. in our Lighthouse Vista Nature album. And there's some nice ones here, but there are a few holes we can fill. That 1990 is not scarce. I just haven't pulled out a nice one for whatever reason. So we're gonna wanna keep looking for that. And you gotta see that one. That's a beautiful, and that was one of the first ones we filled in here, was that 1963 with a really nice cameo finish. Well, I hope you enjoyed that penny hunt and album fill video. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, Cadroll Hunter, please hit that button and subscribe so you know when my new videos are coming out. I have new videos coming out all the time. I always appreciate you watching. Thank you so much for doing so. We'll see you again next time. The sponsors of today's video are Lighthouse Canada and the Charlton Press. Lighthouse Canada is the leading supplier of high-quality numismatic supplies in Canada, and the Charlton Press is the leading publisher of coin and paper money catalogs and price guides for Canadian collectors. Go check out their online stores today and use the exclusive discount code CRH20 for 20% off all your purchases.